The elevated train by my window doesn't faze me anymore. The rattling screams don't disrupt my dreams. It's a lullaby in its way. The elevated train drives everyone insane, but I don't mind, oh no. When I bring back boys, they can't tolerate the noise, and that's okay, cause I never let them stay. But one day, I'm hopping that elevated train and I'm riding away, yeah. It won't be long now. The boys around the way holler at me when I'm walking down the street. Their machismo pride doesn't break my stride. It's a compliment, so they say. The boys around the way holler at me every day, but I don't mind, oh no, no. If I'm in the mood, it will not be with some dude who is whistling cause he has nothing to say, or who's honking at me from his Chevrolet. But one day, I'm hopping in a limousine and I'm driving away, yeah. It won't be long now. The neighborhood salon is the place I am working for the moment. As I cut their hair, ladies talk and share every day who's doing who and why. The neighborhood salon doesn't pay me what I wanna be making, but I don't mind. As I sweep the curb, I can hear those turbo engines blazing a trail through the sky. I look up and think about the years gone by, and one day I'm walking to JFK and I'm gonna fly. It won't be long now, any day.
Theatre, an industry returning after a global pandemic. In the Wings is a collection of interviews with writers, composers and creatives of new musical theatre. As the world starts to find a new normal, we will shine a spotlight upon 6 such productions, featuring performances by West End stars and emerging artists. These are the stories of those shows waiting in the wings. Episode 3, Fiver.
So this next musical has had a #1 on the iTunes soundtrack charts ahead of The Greatest Showman and Hamilton.
Yes.
And it's all about a £5 note. So please welcome Alex James Ellison, the writer of Fiver.
Thank you very much.
Tell us about the show.
So Fiver follows the story of a £5 note going through different people's pockets, and you meet all the different characters that come into contact with it. So it's not a very traditional musical, and yeah, it's just like a cool concept that we thought of in the pub one day when we were wondering where the £5 note we had in our hand has been and who's had it. You never know, do you?
I love that. I think everyone's probably thought about that in their life, but never thought, right, I'm going to write a musical. Yeah. So how did you go from that meeting in the pub to, this is interesting, to actually getting into writing?
So we got approached to do a 1-act, 1-hour musical at the Crazy Cocks as part of this new musical festival. So we were like, basically they asked us if we had anything that we'd already been writing or working on. So we kind of lied and we're like, yes, we've got a show called Fiver. And then basically we had like a deadline of 2 months to write this show. And it started out of kind of a concept, like a showcase of songs. So we originally wanted to just write loads of different songs that people could use in auditions and people could perform at cabarets and stuff, and that were linked together by this cool concept of a £5 note. So like, the basic first draft of the musical was literally a 1-hour show with all these songs linked together by the £5 note.
Nice. So very quickly, talk us through the £5 note's journey. Who does it meet?
Okay, so in the version that we've got now, it starts off. I play the busker and I coerce it out of an audience member at the beginning by being like, I'm a busker, give me some money. So I get the £5 note, then I give it to a homeless man. He goes and buys a lottery ticket with it, and then someone gets it and puts it in a birthday card to give to their friend. And then it finds its way to a couple. Someone leaves it as a tip for a waitress. Someone drops it on the floor, and then someone gives it as a donation in like a surprise party, baby shower thing. And then in the interval, it goes on this massive journey where it goes to a stripper, and it goes to, I can't even think where else it goes now. Ends up getting flushed down the toilet because the stripper is doing naughty things in the toilet with the £5 note. Gets flushed down the toilet, and then the interval happens. After the interval, we come back 15 years later, and the fiver gets washed up on the shore, and some random kid finds it. It goes on another journey through different people, ends up in a school, ends up being involved in a proposal, and then it ends up back with the busker, and then it very cleverly ends up back with the audience member. But I won't tell you how, because that's a secret.
So as the show was changing for the different characters we meet along the journey, are those people that you know or in your imagination?
The actual characters, I think, yes, they are based on people. Loads of them are. Like the young guy who puts a £5 note in a birthday card and gives it to his friend, and he's done it every year for his whole life. And I had friends growing up that I used to give a £5 note in a card to every year, and I'm sure we all do. And like there's a bit where there's a teacher in there, and I definitely based that on a teacher who growing up at school I had. I think in terms of coming up with different ways to use the fiver, the first thing we did was wrote down a list of all the different ways you could use a fiver. So we came up with doing drugs, we came up with putting a birthday card, we came up with donating it, losing it, giving it to a homeless person, giving it to a busker. That was kind of the first thing we did, and then we were like, okay, what songs can we get out of these situations?
I love the idea. Had you always had in mind for the fiver to go all the way full circle, like a person's journey in life or that sort of vibe?
Yeah, I think we've always wanted that to be the case. It's quite hard to get it back to the audience member, but we found a way of doing it, and I think it just makes it a neat little thing, because then you never know where it's going to go next, and then that person's going to go off their fiver and go to the pub afterwards and spend it, and then just the world is massive.
I'm not asking for a gift. My music is my currency, and my lyrics are my tip. I've sold my songs for money, despite what you might think. And now I'm singing on this table for a vanilla latte drink. It's a win-win situation. We both gain from this deal. You'll give me my hydration, and I'll give you the feels. 'Cause I'll sing my heart out, and you'll Paris. Forget about cash, it won't be missed. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. You can choose the blues, or I can try to be funny. You can sing along and you won't deny. I made your day and you'll have made mine. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. You can choose the blues, or I can try to be funny. Then I'll drink your coffee and I'll say goodbye. You go your way and I'll go mine. You might mock at me for singing. You might ask for cash instead. Mine's the gift that keeps on giving when it's stuck in your head. 'Cause when I sell out Wembley and the crowds will sing along, you can tell the world that you were first to hear this song. It's a win-win situation. We both gain from this deal. So while the coffee's brewing, I think that we'll sing our hearts out. And here's the twist, forget about cash, it won't be missed. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. You can choose the blues, or I can try to be funny. You can sing along and you won't deny. I made your day and you'll have made mine. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. You can choose the blues, or I can try to be funny. Then I'll drink your coffee and I'll say goodbye. You go your way and I'll go mine. Now I'm not trying to be funny. when I'm singing this song. It's just performing on the streets has kept me grounded and strong, and the cost of living here doesn't leave me with cash. So a handful of your bean and a milky splash will make my life a little lighter, my smile a little brighter, would help to make the day of the singer-songwriter. I can tell that this rapping has thrown you off kilter. I express how I feel. Hashtag no filter. Is this song to your taste, or am I stirring up trouble? I gave it a shot, actually make mine a double. So my taste buds are dancing, they're having a party. So give me a coffee and I'll like you a latte. I think I've seen this before, didn't I sing to you? And then you gave me a coffee, of course, deja brew. So give me caffeine to keep my eyes bright. I'm holding on to a Nero till the end of the night. This change is bringing me down. It's not what I'm about. This change is bringing me down. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. I'll sing you a song. I'll sing you a song. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. You can choose the blues, or I can try to be funny. You can sing along and you won't deny. I made your day and you'll have made mine. I'll sing you a song with no value for money. You can choose the blues, or I can try to be funny. Then I'll drink your coffee and I'll say goodbye. You go your way and I'll go mine.
How have you found the show's developed over time?
It started off as this 1 hour, 1 act show. Then when we took it to Southwark, we developed into a 2 hour show with 2 acts. And just the characters, we got loads of feedback from the original production, and the characters developed loads. We built on the structure. All the characters, like what people liked about the show was the concept of it, but most people wanted a bit more. Because you only meet the characters for 5 minutes each, you never really get to know them, so you don't connect to them as much. So then we padded out the story, padded out the script, and added some more songs in just to make it a bit more beefy.
Keeping the storyline relevant and fresh, has the pandemic changed anything? Is there new characters that you want to introduce?
I've been working on a new rewrite of it, which is a bit more appropriate for today. Definitely the pandemic has had a big effect on the way I see the storyline. In the newest version that I've been rewriting recently, we're focusing a lot on connection and a lot on the way people connect to each other, and I think the pandemic has highlighted that massively, that we've had that whole isolation from everybody, and now we've come back together and technology is getting better and everyone's on their phones all the time and we're using cash less and less and we're using contactless, and it's like the whole premise of Fiverr is about this £5 note, which is a metaphor for the thing that keeps us all connected. Like, I see you and I give you a £5 note and we smile at it, as opposed to just tapping and walking off. And I think the piece as a whole represents connection, which is even more important when we're just coming out of a pandemic. So I think people will watch the show and really be able to connect to one of the characters. Everyone's so different, everyone's so diverse. Anybody watching it will be able to connect to something.
So using the word 5, where do you see the show in 5 years' time?
I would love to get this version of the show that I've been working on recently, I'd love to get it published. I'd love other people to be able to do it. It's like the best feeling in the world having other people sing your songs. I get tagged in videos of people singing it all the time, and it's just amazing that people like it, like singing it, like performing it, like putting their own spin on it. So I think in 5 years' time, the show would be published, it'd be out there, schools would be doing it, colleges, universities, Amdrams, and other productions will be going on. I'd love to see a production in America, or just to see how different people can do it. Like, because the way the show is, because it's not a typical structure of a show, it means that you can have a cast of 5, but you can also have a cast of 20, and everyone gets a different role, or you can have a big ensemble, or you can have an all-female cast, an all-male cast. Like, you can do anything with the show. There's nothing specific about that sort of stuff in it. So I just want to see what other people do with it and set it in the future, or set it in the 1900s. I don't know, make it Victorian England.
For anyone who hasn't seen the show, what's the vibe of music? You know, obviously you were saying about busking. Is that the general vibe, very acoustic, or what would you say the genre of music is for the show?
It's quite a hard one, actually. I think the show is very diverse in terms of all the influences we have. I think the overlaying thing is contemporary musical theatre with pop influences, but each of the characters is completely different. The homeless man is completely different to a young couple having a baby, and it's completely different to a school kid going to school. So each of the different characters have their kind of own style and their own rhythm, and we wanted to replicate that in music styles. So we've got like bits of rap, like some light hip hop, some kind of patter songs, a bit Sondheimy, some buskery kind of acoustic stuff. It's really diverse, and I think that holds up a mirror to what London's like. It's such a diverse place, and I think we're trying to celebrate that.
Definitely. Something for everyone.
Something for everyone, exactly, yeah.
Walked past a man this morning on my way to work. He had nothing. He just sat there with all the worries in the world. He made the choice to raise his voice and look me in the eye and ask for something that could make the difference, live or die. And I stood there, and somehow I was drawn to him, and I know it's not fair, but somehow I envied him. And now I know it's 'cause everything seemed simple in that moment. And I walked on. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to say it to anyone but me. I listen, but you're staying silent and expecting me to hear you, but I can't. Please just whisper it. Whisper it to me. I saw an old friend this morning I hadn't seen for a year or two. I asked how they were doing, expecting fine thanks, how are you? She said that she'd been struggling, and I didn't know what to think. I felt bad that I ignored her, so we went and had a drink, and I sat there and felt like I could offer nothing. And I know it's not fair, but I felt distracted, and although I care, it's 'cause when I listened I thought of you. I thought of you. You don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to say it to anyone but me. I listen, but you're staying silent and expecting me to hear you, but I can't. Please just talk to me. Talk to me. You said you wanted to emulate your brother and do the things he never could. You wanted to create a legacy. You were so clear, like you understood what you wanted to do, how you planned on working through it, and that you'd need to speak to someone. How he spoke to you. You said it's not about being sad, it's being grateful for what you had. But what about what you have? You don't have to shout it from the rooftops. You don't have to say it to anyone but me. I listen, but you're staying silent and expecting me to hear you, but I can't. Please just whisper it. Whisper it to me.
So obviously you've managed to perform a couple of times, so you've got fans of Fiver now following you around. How have they handled the adaptations? Are they happy with them? Have they given you notes, or how does that work?
I mean, it's amazing. Like, the fan base we built up for the show is like much more than I could have anticipated. The fact that we ended up selling out our run at Southwark Playhouse was just amazing. Like, the support we got, people coming to watch it multiple times, people waiting at stage door afterwards to get pictures and stuff. It's just so nice, but also it felt like a family. It felt like a real team effort. The cast brought all their kind of individual fans, and they became fans of the show, and then like it just built and grew and grew. And then when we did in lockdown, we did a streamed version of the show, and again we sold like hundreds and hundreds of tickets, and it was just amazing. It was just like a real feel of community, which is what the show's about, really. In terms of how the fans noticed the changes, I don't think they haven't had a chance to, because they've been a fan of the new production and they haven't seen all the stuff that I've changed. I haven't changed anything massive in terms of the characters they love will still be there, the songs they love will still be there. But I think, talking to the fans every day after the show was amazing. They had all their own input and they had questions about it and how we wrote it, and they noticed things in it. They watch it every night, they notice little differences and changes. And as a performer and as a director and as a creative, I'm definitely about like making it different every night. I love that the actors react to whatever they're given. Obviously there's audience interaction. Because it's such an intimate space, the audience were literally there. So if they laugh at a line, you wait for them to finish and you carry on. You might deliver the next bit differently. But also you're just reacting off each other and off the space and it was hot, it was in the summer, so it was like very hot in that space. So everyone was sweating out together, and it just like, I don't know, it just felt like a real nice community feel from the cast and the audience. One big thing that's changed and kind of grown over this whole last 4 years of musical is the busker's place in the show. Because in the first production we had 4 actors, and the busker was only in at the beginning, and then he turned it, and then he started doing other roles and stuff. In this production at Southwark Playhouse, we decided to make the busker a bit more of a narrator character. So he kind of sits back, he watches all the different characters, he pops up in different places and just introduces things to the audience. And also it was quite nice to have 5 people in the cast, because it's called Fiver, so it's clever.
Yeah, love that.
So so the busker character kind of developed, and even in rehearsals we were like adding more bits, and then when we did the streamed version of it, again we added another song for the busker, and so the cast always joke about it because they were like, "Oh, you're just making your part bigger." And
I was going to say, aren't you the busker?
Essentially, I am. Only because the busker had hardly anything at the beginning, so we've kind of in the new production of it, he starts the show by being like, "I'm a busker. I spend my life on these streets, watching all these different people, and I've noticed that people aren't connecting as much. I've noticed that people always have their heads down on their phones. People have their headphones on. They don't react. People used to listen to me and give me applause and give me money and stuff, and now people aren't. And that's a reflection of the world. But I think the world, we should connect more. I think that we should. I don't care about the money. I want you to watch. I want you to engage. I want you to make eye contact and smile and enjoy yourselves, enjoy your lives."
Yeah.
And then he uses the show as a vehicle to show the audience that it's better to connect. And then by the end of it, hopefully the audience will be like, "Yeah, you know what, I'm going to stop and watch that person, or I'm going to smile, or I'm going to hold the door for that person," or whatever it is. I think that's what we want to achieve.
Definitely. Have you found that as a busker, or are you not busking anymore, or have you noticed a change when you have been busking?
Definitely, yeah. I think I used to busk when I was 16, and people used to stop and watch. You could build up quite a crowd. I think it's hard in London because unless you're really like eye-catching and really different or unique in some way, people are just like, "Oh, it's another busker," kind of thing. You know, when you go to Leicester Square and you walk past all those men dressed up as Darth Vader and like whatever and Yoda, and then there's a busker there, and like you just kind of you've got to stand out, and you've got to be unique, you've got to be talented in order to get people to lift their attention up. I think we're lucky in London because lots of tourists, and tourists love watching buskers, so you do have them. But then again, it's all through their phones, they're filming everything, and you're kind of like, just some part of me wants to be like, put your phones down
Yeah.
and just enjoy the music, and like we can have an
Yeah.
actual connection, as opposed to you holding your phone like that and then watching it through your phone.
Yeah,
But-
just enjoy the show and then give me a fiver.
Yeah, just enjoy it and give me some money.
Exactly.
I just thought I'd call because I'm sitting in our park, not on the usual bench, but just across the path. And I saw an act of beauty that made me think of you, and it made me want to hear your voice, so I called. Anyway, since we broke up, I've had a lot of crazy thoughts, not crazy as in mental, just enough to make me pause. And I still think about you lots, and I hope you think of me. Please pick up and then you'll see just how happy we could be. Oh God, I sound so desperate. That's not what I meant to say. Begging him to take me back, no, I need to try it another way. A little less clingy and a little less desperation. I'll go ahead and show him I just want to feel adored. This time when I tell him there'll be less cooperation. Press hash to re-record. Hey babe, it's me. I've been non-stop, but I'm just walking through our park. You know me, just relaxing, having a laugh. I saw a couple smiling, and it made me think of you, and it made me want to hear your voice. So I called, well, not really of you, but of what we could have been. I wanted to change and show you who I could be. You pretty much ditched me and you left me on my own. Damn a call that I'm calling and you don't pick up your phone. Oh God, and now I'm rambling. That's not what I meant to say. He doesn't want to listen to me going on. No, I need to try it in another way. A little less bullshit and a little less adoration. I'll go again and tell him I don't want to be ignored. This time when I tell him I'll forget the admiration. Press hash to re-record. Hi, how are you? I'm calling because I've seen something whilst walking through our park, the one we used to visit right back at the start. You probably don't remember, but it meant something to me, and I wanted to hear your voice, so I called. I've just seen a couple who are genuinely happy, and I mean actually happy, not pretending for their families. I know it wasn't me, and we're not meant for each other. You never let me in, and I felt totally smothered. Oh God, I sound so harsh. That's not what I meant to say. He'll hang up before the end. No, I need to try it another way. A little less avoiding and a little more revelation. I'll go ahead and show him this girl he can't afford. A little more final, listen to my declaration. Press hash, press hash. A little less drama and a little less provocation. I'll go again and this time I'll keep my aim restored. A little more final, it's time for termination. Press hash to re-record. Hey, it's me. I'm over you!
Music is something you've done all your life.
Yeah, I used to busk in Brighton when I was growing up. So the character which I played in Fiverr was a busker. So it's kind of like I kind of knew what I was writing. I like the idea of this busker who sees everything, who sees all the different people on the streets and can kind of comment on their lives a bit. And yeah, I felt like because I was a busker, I could write a musical about busking. But yeah, I used to play the piano, and I mean, I still do, obviously. I played the piano when I was young, and I played the guitar, and I've always sung and kind of been musical. I always wanted to be an actor first, and then kind of fell into musical theatre because I love all the aspects of it.
Nice.
Like the production we did, like I was director on it, I was the musical director, I was the writer, I was the producer.
I was going to ask, is that really overwhelming, being sort of sole control of everything?
It is very overwhelming. It's really hard wearing all these different hats because you have to speak to people, like for example, you have to speak to the cast, and you're a cast member with them, so you can talk about like funny stuff. And then you're also the director, so you have to give them notes. And you're also the producers, so you have to pay their wages. And it's just like all these different roles which don't really come together, and you have to kind of juggle that. And that's the same with all the tech crew and everybody involved in it. You have to be friends with them and also be their boss essentially. I think we've been so lucky with all the people we've worked with because they've all collaborated on this project. Most of them are doing it because they want to be part of it. I think people knew the material, they knew me, they knew us, and they knew what the show was about, and so it spoke to them and they wanted to be part of it.
So for anyone out there who's watching this and goes, I want to be like Alex, I want to write and perform and do all those extra jobs in one, what would your advice be to them?
My main piece of advice for someone who wanted to do it would be to get things written down and get things actually on paper, because you can obsess for ages over getting your first scene right, keep rewriting it, no it's not right, rewrite, and actually then you're never going to get anywhere. I'd say write it and it's rubbish and keep writing, and then be like, okay, keep writing, and then you've got the whole show, and then something you've written later on might then impact on what you've written earlier, so you're going to have to change it anyway, so there's no point in getting it perfect. So there's a quote which I kind of live by when I think about musicals, and it is, musicals aren't written, they're rewritten. Literally, I've got so many voice memos on my phone of me walking down the road, just singing a random song, and I've just got me going, oh, my day, it's my day. And then like, when I listen to them back to them now, I'm like, how far has that come to like the full produced song that we've got? So keep developing it, keep working on it. It's never kind of finished, apart from I would like to finish Fiverr, because I want to move on to my next thing.
Well, when it's next out, I'm sure that myself and everyone watching will be there. Thank you so much, Alex James Ellison from Fiverr.
Thank you for having me.